My first question is, what is iEnable?
iEnable is a transformational learning program wherein a learner goes through an existential process to be able to discover what takes the individual to enable another individual. A process that helps the individual also remove certain blocks that might be coming in the way of enabling another individual without bias. It is a program that makes a person from being an expert or from being an executive to being an enabler of action and the outcome of the action. iEnable is perhaps the first of its kind of a learning program that exists anywhere in the world that is designed ground up to develop and certify resource persons, which could be trainers, facilitators, mentors, coaches, who would be able to uncover the learning needs of target learners, conceptualize and design learning initiatives and interventions that address those needs, and even periodically be able to measure the learning growth and development of the learners. At this point in time, I must also clarify that this is not a train the trainer program. It is not a train the trainer program because unlike most train the trainer program, here a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of conscious exploration happens directed towards self-enablement of the learning enablers.
So, why iEnable?
Why iEnable? I think that is a very important question. In my journey with iProdigy over the last 12 years, I have noticed that while a lot of time, and when I say time, I'm talking of business time, learner's time, collective time, and money is being spent on training and facilitation of people who are expected to go back and create value in the systems they belong to. But we all know that it is a far cry. The investment and the return that comes therefrom in terms of impact on business bottom line or objectives of the institution, there's a huge gap. When we in iProdigy started way back in 2001, ground up, our commitment was to create business impact through learning. So it was a mandate for us to find out ways and means by which it is not enough for us to deliver some information or cognitive data or make participants happy in a classroom. We were committed to enable them to learn, and not only enable them to learn, but enable them to apply that learning and integrate that learning in their roles as well as in their personal being to be able to create value to the systems that they belong to. And this gave rise to certain approaches, certain methodologies, certain tools and frameworks, which in the year 2007 was packaged together to be brought out as the previous avatar of iEnable, which was called Excellence in Learning Leadership. Now, this does not answer the question iEnable. This is a brief history of what brought iEnable as a concept into the space. Why iEnable? Very simple. The world, the economy, the social evolution today requires a whole lot of qualified, equipped and certified learning enablers. Whether we talk of healing the economy or reaping the dividends of a demographic which is going to appear sometime around 2020, the onus largely is with the quality of learning enablement, whether we are going to create a more virtuous and valuable world, or it's going to be a challenging misery that is going to chase us, or we chase the misery all through. So in short, the reason for bringing iEnable into being is to light 1,000 lamps which can kindle 1,000,000 lives. And that is what it has been. That is what it is going to be going forward.
How is iEnable different from other train the trainer or facilitation skills program?
As I said earlier, iEnable at the very essence of its concept is about empowering, equipping and enabling the enablers, who then use themselves as resources to facilitate the group learning process. They use themselves also to bring together a group as a learning resource and thereby create rich, deep and contextual learning in a given space. This is very different from the objective of a typical train the trainer program, which is more to do with the skills and the methodologies that the trainer must use to be effective. In case of iEnable, effectiveness is given. The focus is more on impact. It's a very difficult and a deep program which requires the participants to stay away from the familiar reality for 5 full days, and therefore it has been designed as a 5-day residential program. And during these 5 days, besides engaging along with the group in deep self-exploration and discovery, in an environment of experimentation, the participants will experiment and explore with different approaches to enabling learning unto others. I must at this stage also differentiate and distinguish between training, facilitation and enablement. While in training, one could be helping another to learn a few lessons or some skills, while in facilitation, it's about a group culling out through certain discussions and exploration some factual and cognitive details and content. Enablement is a far committed role in which the enabler walks along with the learner to help the learner learn from almost every touch point of life. There is very little that the enabler has to bring in terms of content. In fact, all enabled learning programs target generation of user-generated content. It's a very different humanistic and organic way of enabling the natural human process of growth and evolution.
Who are the people who can attend this program and will benefit from it?
Primarily, those who have taken up roles to help individuals and groups to learn. They're often called as trainers, learning facilitators, instructors, so on and so forth. They're the ones who would benefit from this program the most. However, having said that, and from my experience of iEnables that have happened in the past, managers today who by choice or by design take on roles of being mentors and coaches, they will and they have benefited significantly from this program. I would also like to believe that administrative officers in governments or in government bodies, or for that matter anyone whose core responsibility is to enable a set of human processes, be it in an institution or in a group or as an individual, would benefit from this program.
And what does a participant expect to take away at the end of the program? How does it benefit the participant?
At an individual level, the participant enhances her worth as a certified learning enabler. And when I say worth, not in intangible terms, but in tangible terms, I have noticed participants who have gone through iEnable have gone back to the industry and fetched a higher per day rate. Enhancement of worth also means that from doing very basic skills development program, they move up the ladder to enable more complex human processes, for example, leadership, or for example, customer engagement. There have been participants who belong to academies, who belong to educational or supplementary educational institutions. They have noticed and they have come back and reported that after having gone through this program, they seem to attract more participants. They seem to be instrumental in increasing the footfalls in their classrooms. Also, once having gone through iEnable, the individual may not be directly, but as enablers, influence the value creation process in any system, and thereby they can be seen as enormous value enhancers or value creators. At this point in time, I must also state that there would be many corporates, many academies, many learning institutions who would be nominating or would like to nominate professionals from their organizations to go through iEnable. They stand to benefit a lot by doing so in terms of reducing the risk of exposing learners to ineffective and not very impactful trainers and instructors. I think that's a big advantage. And I think one of the main benefit that a corporation can expect by nominating their professionals for iEnable is, iEnable makes a person content or methodology agnostic. So as a corporation, you don't need to have experts in themes like, for say, communication or presentation or cross-cultural. From being an expert, an enabler cuts through such topical boundaries and is able to carry out enablement for any context or theme, which therefore means a certain consolidation, an enhancement of enabler capacity in any system. It also means higher availability and higher bandwidth of enablers in the institution. For corporations, one very pivotal benefit could be when they nominate their managers for this program. Historically, it has been seen that people are best enabled, motivated, and grown into taking higher roles by their seniors, who they look up to as mentors. The challenge that has always been is the manager does not know when to stop driving an individual through targets and goals and enable the individual's development for the individual's sake. This program brings the mentor or the coach inside the manager out, and for once he or she takes up such an enabling role by choice. We have had testimonials from such mentors, such managers mentors who have come back and stated that thanks to iEnable, they have not only earned a lot of respect and love from people who work with them, they've actually been able to enhance their performance and more so their retention within the organization.